Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Dr. P, a board certified OBGYN, and today we're talking about, can you do ab workouts during pregnancy? I'm excited to talk about this because when I went through my first pregnancy, I literally was like disappointed at the fact that I couldn't really control my core the way I used to. And as I worked on my six-pack then, which is no longer a thing anymore, I've learned a lot about the importance of the core. And so today we're going to talk about that. Why is your core so important? And how do you support it during pregnancy? I'll also add in quite a bit of recommendation as far as what kind of ab exercises to do during your pregnancy, as well as those that you should absolutely avoid so that you don't have any complications. So let's talk about it. All right, so pregnancy happens, and it is such a beautiful experience. It is a beautiful experience for most people. Of course, there are always aspects that are just not so fun, but oftentimes we're thinking about our core and the changes that happens there, because a grown pregnancy is absolutely in your abdomen and will absolutely show, and you will feel the differences in your muscles and your joints and everything. And so when we're thinking about our abs are actually really important for stabilizing our bodies. You know, we oftentimes don't realize it, but when you go up and down the stairs, guess what you're using? You're using your rectus abdominal muscles, and they're taking turns kind of keeping you stabilized. When we pick up something that's really heavy, we're using our core. We're just not very conscious of it. You know, after a C-section, I tell patients, I'm just like, you will realize very quickly how important your core has been to you after a C-section, because you feel it, you feel the difference. Your core stabilizes you. And as your pregnancy is growing, imagine you have this baby and all this additional weight that's popping forward through your abdomen. Your core restabilizes every day because your center of gravity shifts. That's where you feel balance on your feet and are able to walk upright and keep your posture. Your core controls all of that. And so your core is heavily impacted with a grown pregnancy. Your core also may help tremendously when it comes to laboring and delivering. When we're thinking about having a vaginal delivery and all the changes internally and pushing a baby out. Now, I'm gonna say like your very first vaginal delivery really takes the most out of you physically. This is where you're engaging your core constantly and you're using all this muscle work to help to push your baby through your vaginal space and out into the world. It's a lot of work. And so if you have a very strong underlying core, it actually may help you with this process. And definitely for babies number 2, 3, 4, and all the others, it becomes a little bit easier, but your core is just as important during those pregnancies as well. Now, as your body changes during the growth of your pregnancy, there are also risks to your abdomen. And so let's now talk specifically about the rectus abdominis muscles. These are the two, I'm gonna say they look like little bacon strips of muscles in the front of your abdomen. Now we have two of them, the right side and the left side. And so they'll come down the center, go around your belly button and continue down to your pubic bone. I think of them as they're usually like kissing. They're really close to each other and they stay touching. But sometimes during pregnancy, as your baby grows forward, your uterus comes forward and your muscles get outstretched. Once they reach their maximum level of stretch, sometimes what happens, instead of them actually staying really close together, they can start to separate, okay? And that's because they have no more length in them to outstretch forward, so they start to separate in the middle. Now, this is a very common thing during pregnancies. Now, once you deliver your baby, I'm gonna say usually we don't stretch out more than maybe this amount, about an inch separation or so. Once you deliver your baby, within the first 24 to 48 hours, the muscles usually start to come right back together and start kissing again. Now, that separation medically is called diastasis recti. You've probably heard of this. You've probably been concerned about it, okay? But it happens in most pregnancies. During your pregnancy, we really don't want to work on trying to reverse this or correct this problem. That is not the time for it. But after you deliver, sometimes there are specific exercises and things that you can do to help the muscles come back together. And even if you had a C-section, depending on your surgeon, conversation to have with your doctor, sometimes we can help to bring those together as well. This is something that I do during my C-sections for patients, but something for you to talk to your provider about. Now let's backtrack. How do we support your abs during pregnancy in order to decrease the amount of separation that happens and increase the likelihood that your muscles come back together after you deliver? And that's what we're here for, so let's talk about it some more. Are ab exercises safe during pregnancy? In general, yes, they absolutely are. But because of the hormonal changes that are happening in your body during pregnancy, many of them cause your body and your muscles and your joints to relax. Because of that, we don't want to overstimulate your muscles, especially your abs, because they're hormonally being told not to work harder. And if you physically try to get them to work harder, this is where we can cause problems and complications and worsen diastasis recti, all of the things that we really don't want to do. In general, we recommend that we make some modifications during pregnancy as far as doing high impact exercises. As we get further along in pregnancy, we actually want to do less and less high impact exercises. We want to make changes wherein we're always engaging our core, but not directly doing things like crunches. And I'll tell you why. Again, the hormonal changes play a huge part here. But we want to engage our core, meaning that as I'm standing here, I am engaging my core. I'm squeezing my muscles. I'm activating my abdominal muscles. But if you look at me right now, do you think that I'm exercising? No. I'm not doing crunches. I'm not doing direct abdominal core exercises, but I'm engaging my core. I'm aware of my abdominal muscles. I'm strengthening them by contracting them and relaxing them throughout the day, as well as while I do other exercises during pregnancy. So let's talk about which ab exercises you can safely do during your first trimester. Let's start with planks. Planks are great. They're engaging your core, you're supporting your body on your forearm or on your hands. And so you're using your core muscles without actually pulling and tugging and crunching them, okay? As I mentioned, no crunches during your pregnancy. Pelvic tilts are another good one. You can do the standing, and essentially you're using your core, you're engaging them, but you can stand on your feet and you're shifting your body forward and backwards to kind of help to support your core without doing any crunches. Now, some crunches can be okay, modified ones, okay? So when we think of a full range crunch, we're going from being on a flat back, on a flat surface, and pulling your upper body completely up at least a good 45, 90 degrees or so. Modified means that you're not lifting your entire back off of that floor or the flat surface that you're on, okay? So you're just lifting your upper body slightly and not your entire body. You're not coming up all the way up, all right? So modified crunches are okay, but full crunches are not. Another exercise that you can do during your first trimester are bird dogs. Now, as you're moving forward to your second trimester, there are still more core things that we can do. Side planks are an excellent option at this time. It causes like less pressure with the gravity pulling your pregnancy, your growing pregnancy towards the ground. Now, when you're on your side, you can not only strengthen your muscles on the side of your abdomen as well, but you'll still support the center core without actually doing things that will engage the muscles directly. Standing core work is also important during your second trimester as well. So standing upright and again, engaging that core. And especially if, you know what, I always recommend that, we engage with a trainer during your pregnancy, because so many of them can kind of guide the exercises that you're doing. But doing standing core work during your second trimester is really, really helpful, because you're, again, you're eliminating gravity, pulling this growing pregnancy and abdomen and your uterus and all the things down to the ground. When you're upright, you're able to engage and actually kind of make your pregnancy go internal more so than have gravity pull it outwards. Second trimester is also a great time to start using an exercise ball. It is perfect for helping to not only open up your hips and help your flexors to actually engage and relax well. This will help with laboring and delivering as well. But it also helps you to open up your pelvis, relax your core, and strengthen it at the same time. If you've ever been on a ball, considering that balls are not steady, it indirectly causes your core to be engaged to help keep you upright. If you are stretching on a ball, it helps to allow your muscles to stabilize your body. All of that's coming from your core. So sitting on a ball during your second trimester is an excellent, excellent option and great way to engage your abs and keep them strong. In your third trimester, engaging your core with a lot of breathing exercises actually becomes more helpful than doing more direct core work. So that sometimes means taking a deep breath and holding your abdomen as tight as you could. Engage your muscles, keep them tight, hold that as long as you can, and then you relax and get those muscles to relax as well. And we do this every 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes, a few times per hour. Engage and relax. You could do this while you are getting the nursery together, while you're doing grocery shopping, while you're at work. These are things that doesn't require going to a gym, but also helps you tremendously as far as your core is concerned. Also, during your third trimester, wall sits may help as well, okay? So put your back against the wall, and sometimes you can put even a light weight on your hips, but you're sitting against the wall, engaging that core, and it helps a lot to open up things, especially as you prepare for labor. Now, exercises to avoid, other than crunches that I've talked about so much during this episode. In addition to crunches, you also want to avoid traditional sit-ups, okay? I mean, as you physically go through pregnancy, it becomes almost like common sense, right? Your abdomen is growing, it's just harder to move in that direction, but don't be upset at yourself for your inability to do so or the discomfort you have in trying to do them, because physiologically, it is just not a great idea to do those. Absolutely no crunches and no traditional sit-ups. I'd also say, while we're on that topic, to not do any exercises where you're lying supine. Supine means that you're lying on your back, flat on the ground, especially after 20 weeks of pregnancy. The reason for this is that when your pregnancy sits on top of your blood vessels that are in the back of your body against your spine, they can actually compress them to a point where your pregnancy doesn't get enough blood flow. We don't want that. And as well, you might not get enough blood flow back to your heart and your brain, and you can easily get sick, feel lightheaded, and have issues. And so, in general, you can be on your sides, but just don't do any exercises laying flat in any way beyond 20 weeks of pregnancy. Now, if you are exercising at any point and you start feeling lightheaded or dizzy, you start having cramping, and definitely if you're having bleeding, this is a reason for you to stop those exercises and speak with your doctor and be evaluated. Listen to your body. Your body speaks louder than you think. We just have to listen sometimes. If you have any complications, please talk to your doctors. And of course, before you engage in any strenuous exercises, especially if it's new for you, speak with your doctor to make sure that it is safe for you during this current pregnancy, and they'll guide you as far as what to do and what not to do. Thank you so much for listening in today. I'm Dr. Perkins again, and guess what? I have a free gift for you. Because you've been here and you're listening, and I just love you all, I want to send you a free copy of my ebook, Hormones Don't Lie. Because we're hormonal, our hormones change, especially during pregnancy, and sometimes a little guidance can help. And so I'd love to send you that. Click on the link below. I'll send that over to you. And I hope to see you next time.